Good evening, lamb chops. It is I, your favorite fluffy vampire, Bluma. Hi. Hey. Oh, hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad we're all here for Higurashi. Are you excited? Shit is finally starting to get fucky. Are you excited? I'm excited. Oh, hi. You excited? Good, good. Oh, Risu. Oh my god. I was helping somebody at the bank today who spoke Spanish. Like, he only spoke a little bit of English, and we met halfway with my little bit of Spanish, but then I fucked up. At the end, he was like, gracias, and I said donka. I fucked up. I fucked up. Muffin's not here? Yeah, sorry, Muffin. He can catch donka. I fucked up. I got nervous. He was also confused. I was just like, I said thank you. But yeah, don't. Hi, Muffin. Maybe we'll see him in the VOD squad. This will be for him. Hi. I approve. Supungo pin. Supungo pin. Are you plotted, darling? Shit, I really fucked that up. Forget it. Take that out. Cut that out. Cut that. It's okay, that didn't happen. I learned how to say, how can I help you in Spanish, and then I fucked up. I really fucked up. It's like, are you plotted, darling? Or something like that. That ain't it, though. It ain't it, sis. Hello, VOD Muffin. Yes. Well, let me get our chapter loaded here at the end of chapter 5. Right, so we went all of chapter 5. Como puedo ayudar? Yeah! That! I said that, and I knew what I meant. But I guess in the 4 hours from then till now, I forgot how to say it. Oh yeah, this music, huh? Let's see, we spent the entirety of chapter 5 being like, I wonder where Satoko is. Surely she isn't dead. Surely. So proud of me. Thank you! Yeah! Bachi. I know, the other teller that's in there with me, she's like, by December, you and me, Bluma, we'll know Spanish. I'm like, I doubt it, but I'll try. I'm gonna be more amazed if she learns Spanish. That's a lot of brain power. That would be that bitch's, like, third language. She speaks... Her first language is Swahili, and then she speaks English, and then... So I'm like, and you're trying to learn Spanish? Bro, I barely speak English. Hello? Alright, but yeah, sorry. Let's focus. Right, Higurashi. So we spent all of last chapter being like, holy shit, where's Satoko? Oh no. Nervous. Concerned, you know? Duolingo got nothing on him. It's true. Donka. You gonna help me with my Spanish? Humu. Indeed. Alright, let's see. Is Hojo-san staying home today too? Furuti-san, do you know anything? The teacher's voice wasn't critical, but Rika-chan hung her head, unable to answer, and I felt really bad for her. Again, thought that was a fucking death note. Chie-sensei out here ready to murder people. The teacher called Rika-chan up, and they had an exchange in hushed tones at the dais. At first, Rika-chan said that Satoko's fever had gotten worse, but everyone in class knew it was a lie. Because every day, Rika-chan brought Satoko's bento with her. Death note. Satoko-chan! I wonder what happened. Don't ask me. I'm the one who wants to know most of all. Sorry, is the music too loud? It feels really loud. I'm gonna go ahead and just scooch it down just a wee bit. It was already the 3rd day since Satoko's first absence. Ever since then, I haven't felt good. It was a bit loud. Okay. Hopefully it's good now. Until last Sunday, everything had been so much fun. I'd reached out to Satoko like a real older brother, and we've spent time, quietly but warm and comfortable. So why had it suddenly flipped over? Fantastic? Okay, good. The more I thought about it, the more I thought the world had taken a turn for the worse ever since the Oshi arrived. Thinking on it now, maybe the strange apprehensions plaguing me the night before Oshi arrived had been a sign. Kurado Oshi, Oyashiro-sama's servant. Shit, that's impossible. They can't decide Satoko will be the curse victim this year just cause he showed up. Early resume moment. Just what sort of slip-up had I committed to cause just those fun times to end so suddenly? Yes, it was the day before Oshi appeared. Shion, Mion, and Reina had spoken of the curse surrounding Satoshi and his disappearance, and it was so sinister that it gave me a bad premonition. Such a small thing was a slip-up that invited Yashiro-sama's servant? It was absurd. I kept on groaning to myself that I would never accept it, ever. I obviously wasn't the only one suppressing my feelings. Mion and Reina were too. Everyone in class was doing it. Rika-chan knew something about Satoko's situation, but she wouldn't tell us. Rika-chan still held a calm attitude like a cat basking in the sun, but she was being unbelievably stubborn about this whole thing. She didn't want to tell us, and that wouldn't change no matter how many times we asked her. Everyone understood that, so nobody questioned her. It's because I can't stand Pumbaa's beauty. Aww. If Rika-chan won't talk, then we just have to wait. And she might not be talking because it's something not worth saying. There is no persuasive power of resonance given the anxious face like that. And sit down. Mia was being tactum, and just looking up at the sky with a somehow annoyed expression. I couldn't tell if she was unhappy that Rika-chan wouldn't talk about it with her own friends, or if she was concerned over Satoko's well-being. And what about me? My anxiety was suffocating me day after day. If someone else were looking at me, then maybe I'd look annoyed like Mion did. Tap, tap. Someone tapped my shoulder. It was Tomoko-kun and Okamura-kun. My Bara-san, do you have a minute? Did your ball get stuck again? You guys have to get it yourselves this time. Don't rely on the older kids for everything. I didn't feel like going along with them, so I was a little unsympathetic at my response. We heard an interesting rumor. A rumor? Yeah. I just thought it might have something to do with that. A rumor. About Satoko? They hadn't said that, but I didn't seem unrelated. They didn't want to talk about it in the classroom, so they pulled me behind the school building, lending further credence to that thought. The back of the school was damp and humid like always. Students didn't really come back here because they wanted to. It might, however, have been the ideal location for trading rumors away from prying eyes. Oh wait, they don't have a picture? Yeah, no, the underclassmen don't have character sprites. Just our friends and the teachers, it looks like. Tomoko-kun, Okamura-kun. These rumors they're saying about Satoko being absent, right? We don't know if it's something to do with it, though. Or maybe. What on earth happened to Satoko? Is she sick? Man, you want to know what they look like? I mean, I could describe them, otherwise I'll joke them out there. They do make an appearance in the anime, so I couldn't just pull up the anime for you. Or show you a picture of them. I guess maybe they get sprites later, it looks like. Or these are literally just things from the show. Oh, this could be the version that, like, I don't have. But anyway. Hold up, we can do this. We can do this. Is it totally not even that important? Yeah, but, you know. It's good to know what you're looking at. And to be fair, they haven't once described them either. They've just been like, yeah, they're there. They're the underclassmen. Okay. So, the far right is Satoko. And the middle is Okumura. And the left is Tomita-kun, as far as I remember. Man. Donuts. Man, a mochi donut would be really good right now. Ah, not a hodo. Yeah. And he's blushing a lot because he's the one that likes Satoko, and the other kid is the one that likes Rika-chan. He's blushing. It's because Satoko talked to him. He got really nervous. Yeah. Yeah, so, when it's talking about Tomita-kun, which is that one, he's the one that has a crush on Satoko. So the kid with the glasses. And the other one has a crush on Rika-chan. So now you know how to tell them apart and what they look like anyway. Yeah? Good? Now we know. Now you know anyway. No, actually, it's the opposite. I heard my grandma saying it. That she came by to buy tofu at our shop yesterday. Oh, Tomita's family runs a tofu shop, added Okumura-kun. She went shopping? To buy tofu? My voice sounds so stupefied I can't even tell. It was understandable. I was worried about the grave illness or injury she had when the person herself had been cut out and about shopping for tofu. So, how was she? Did she look okay? Was she wearing a mask like she was getting better? Or was she just using crutches? Or did she have bandages on her? No, there really wasn't any signs of sickness or injuries on her, but... And I should have felt relieved that there wasn't an illness or an injury. But my anxiety wasn't going away. Because Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun's expressions weren't looking any better. She apparently came by to buy one piece of soft tofu, but my grandma said it was strange. Strange? Why? What's wrong with buying some soft tofu? Irritated by how roundabout they were being, I had to desperately fight the irritation from creeping into my voice. Well, Hojo and Furude live by themselves and they don't have that much money, right? So they only ever buy the cheaper, firmer kind of tofu. They never bought the soft stuff. It's the most expensive thing there. Soft or hard, they're both tofu, aren't they? Maybe she just wanted to eat some great tofu or something. Well, maybe, but I know how transparent it sounded then. This wasn't anything trivial. It was some kind of important clue. Not the cheap, firm tofu, but the expensive, soft kind. Shopping not in the evening after school, but in the middle of the day. I couldn't figure out what those meant. As I thought hard about it, Okumura-kun took his turn to speak. Me next. This was just a rumor, but apparently he's back. He? Who? Who's back? Hojo's uncle. Satoko's uncle. Right, I think Coach told me about him. Their aunt and uncle had taken them in after Satoko and Satoshi lost their parents in that accident. Hojo's uncle. They say he skipped town last year, scared over Yashiro-sama's curse. He's really scary and violent, like a gang member. Everything Coach told me came back in bits and pieces. Right. The mean aunt and uncle had tormented them all the time. I think he said that after their aunt was beaten to death by the deviant, he ran away to his lover's house in Okamiya in fear of the curse. Why would she be staying home from school and shopping for soft tofu in the middle of the day just because her uncle came back? My underclassmen clammed up and looked downwards. There must have been some big hint buried in there. Even if I didn't understand, if I had told Mion or Rina about it, maybe they'd know. Oh, my bad, you two. You were nice enough to talk about it, and I started hammering you with questions. Oh, no, it's okay. Now we know that she hasn't been in bed this whole time gravely ill. That's worth something, isn't it? That might be true. But it still won't. It won't make the clouds of my mind fade away. Mabaru-san, over there. Okumura-kun cried wildly, pointing over my shoulder behind me. Startled, I turned around, and away on the other side of the schoolyard, near the school gate, I saw a figure trudging forth. It's Hojo! I burst into a run faster than I could speak, so that, as quickly as I possibly could, I could see with my own eyes that she was okay. Satoko! Satoko seemed taken aback by me shouting and runned over to her.
Why, what is it, Keiichi-san? You're surprised by all the yelling and running.
Stupid, enough about me. 3 days, what happened, Satoko? I was so worried.
Oh, what a worrywart. I was only 3 days. You're such a worrywart, Keiichi-san.
From listening to her, she seemed like the normal Satoko, but I could tell she was clearly acting strangely. Her smile was somehow forlorn, and her complexion was bad for some reason. Hojo, were you alright? Were you sick or something? Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun both expressed their concerns. Just what happened anyway? 3 days! Do you know how worried I was?
Oh, I do so apologize. I was just giving the house a good clean. We haven't used it in a rather long time, so everything was covered in dust.
Huh? Satoko, what are you talking about? Why would you have to stay home from school just to clean your house? Satoko didn't answer me. Instead, she passed by me and headed for the entrance.
Gosh. It's nearly about lunchtime, is it not? I am just starving.
It was certainly lunch break. I couldn't force her to stop when she told me she wanted lunch since she was so hungry. Well, whatever. Rika-chan's been bringing your lunch for 3 days now. You look like you need today. Let's just get to the classroom and put everyone's minds at ease.
You're right. I suppose I may have caused everyone to worry. I'm sure it was tough being this popular.
I put a hand on Satoko's shoulder as we ran into the classroom together. Up close, I was able to verify that Satoko looked somehow weak. All this anxiety was supposed to go away when I saw her again. That's what I thought. But now, I actually started to have quite different fears. What the heck had happened to Satoko? Everyone in the class, of course, reacted in the same exact way I had. We were worried about you. I'm glad to see you're well. What have you been doing for 3 days? Our classmates showered her in questions. I truly do
apologize for causing such a fuss.
As she cackled and cowed down the bento Rika-chan had made for her, those in the teacher's lounge must have been informed of Satoko's arrival, because our teacher sprinted to the classroom, her breath ragged. Hojo-san!
Oh, Sensei! I'm sorry for worrying you these 3 days. As you can see, I am fit as a fiddle.
My, I was very worried about you. When you were done eating, come to the teacher's lounge. I have a lot to talk to you about.
I must be in for a good scolding for all these 3 days I cut class.
Satoko laughed sheepishly, while she scratched her head and the rest of the class burst into laughter. The teacher was acting angry, but she breathed a sigh of relief, seeing Satoko healthy and smiling as she ate her lunch with the class surrounding her. What a relief, right, Reina?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm glad she's okay.
I looked at Reina and I knew. She had the sense about something Satoko was off, too. I looked to see Mion detached from the clamor as well, with a somewhat grim expression. But Rika-chan, on the other hand, was smiling from ear to ear. She spread out the bento boxes one by one as Satoko finished them. Finally, Satoko was satisfied, and after enjoying a thorough conversation with her classmates, remembered that she'd been called to the teacher's lounge.
It's such a pain, but I think I'll be angrier if I don't go.
I'll go with you. Satoko rises from her seat, and Rika-chan runs over with her.
I do apologize, Keiichi-san. I'll be right back after I get scolded.
Right. I mean, I could go with you too. We're all comrades and getting scolded by the teacher's lounge ever since the curry incident, yeah?
That won't be necessary.
Keiichi should mind his place while we're away. Rika-chan's words were gentle, but the firm rejection was clear in her eyes. The two of them exited the hallway, walking shoulder to shoulder. After seeing them off, the class breathed a collective sigh of relief, broke apart, and went back to their usual lunch break banter. We, however, couldn't go back to how we usually were. Not I, not Mion, and of course not Reina. They stared at the classroom exit Satoko and Rika-chan had left through, their expressions a little distant and grim. We're all friends. Isn't that right? I blurted out something strange, so Mion and Reina turned around with dubious expressions. I won't keep anything from my friends, so I'll tell you just what I heard a little while ago. I told them the stories I heard from Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun about the tofu shop, and how Satoko's uncle had apparently come back. All at once, without letting them speak. And that's all I know. So if either of you know anything else, please say so. I've said everything I can. I ended my sentence firmly, looked into Mion and Reina's eyes in turn. Reina stared right back at me. Her eyes didn't falter. Without even opening her mouth, I could tell she wasn't hiding anything. Then our gazes turned to Mion. It's not like I was trying to keep a secret or anything. Mion couldn't seem to endure our silent stares, and began to talk timidly, as if she was guilty of something. It's just... Now that you've said something, Kei-chan, I guess I'll have to talk about it.
Mi-chan, you know something?
Well, I mean... I knew from the first day that Satoko's uncle had come home. That he just randomly showed up in Hinamizawa last Sunday.
Why didn't you tell us?
I'm sorry. My angry shout caused Mion to flinch away and look down. She hung her head uncomfortably.
Keiichi-kun, it's nothing to get angry about. You're scaring Mi-chan.
Huh? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to shout at you. I lowered my head as an apology. Mion accepted it, collected herself, and continued. According to her, her uncle's relationship with his lover, whom he had been with in Okinomiya, had collapsed. Without nowhere to go, he went back home to Hinamizawa. And on that Sunday, the day of the barbecue, her uncle ran into Satoko and brought her back to the house.
Why? Why did he bring her with him?
Because he's a good-for-nothing parasite. He can't even cook by himself, much less do any cleaning.
But that's... He brought Satoko-chan back to have her cook and clean?
I remember what she'd said. She'd been cleaning the house when I met her back at the school gate. A moment later, the pieces fell into place, into a jigsaw puzzle of unease. And as for what the puzzle depicted, when I saw it from afar, I could see the answer so clearly. Satoko was locked up at home and tormented into doing housework. Those are the rumors. If you knew that, why didn't you speak up? I nearly yelled at Mion, but hastily I stopped myself.
Mi-chan, is that true?
I haven't seen it myself, so I don't know if it's true or not. Mion looked down again, and staring at the floor grew quiet.
Just like last year? Like when they lived with their mean uncle and his wife?
But this uncle, it's completely helpless when it comes to housework, right? If Satoko's that important, then there wouldn't be any reason to torment her, would there?
Keiichi-kun, I don't know what grounds you have for saying that, but you shouldn't be so irresponsible.
Reina clearly and directly got mad at me. You don't know much about this, so don't talk as if you do. Yeah, that's what she meant. Fine, then do you know something, Reina?
I don't know anything either. I didn't know her uncle had taken her to the house until hearing it just now. But the situation is different from a year ago.
The situation is different? What does that mean?
Satoshi-kun isn't here.
Satoshi really cared about his little sister. He always stuck up for her. He was her shield, so that she could be unaffected, even just a little less, by the mean aunt and the uncle's fighting.
The mean uncle and Satoko-chan are the only ones living there now. Can't you imagine how stifling it must be, Keiichi-kun?
He only ever came back because he broke up with that woman he was staying with.
Do you think the person who came back for such an unpleasant reason would be able to treat Satoko-chan kindly? She was right. It wasn't easy for me to imagine Satoko not being tormented. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry too. I sounded like I was interrogating you, didn't I? How? An awkward atmosphere floated among us. The three of us remained silent and just stared at the floor.
No, Satoko, right? Aw, man. Yeah. Naruhodo.
Finally, we heard the principal's bell ringing. The teacher came back with Satoko and Rika-chan at her side. All right, we're starting afternoon class. Class president, please. Everybody stand. Oh, I'm sorry. How rude of me. I couldn't read anything from Satoko's vaguely sheepish expression, but given the clouded look Rika-chan was wearing behind her, it was tough to laugh off the disquieting story I'd heard from Mion. Alright. First time in a while everyone's been here. Let's all have a roaring good time with the whole club. Yeah, perfect. Indeed, in times like these, the best thing to do was obviously get rowdy and scheme against one another in a club activity.
You completely forgot that the uncle had left? That's the only reason she was staying with Rika-chan. Because her uncle bolted.
Just what I was waiting for. Hey, Satoko-chan, let's play. There was that game you liked, wasn't there? What was it again? It doesn't matter which one. Tell me. Tell me. Mion laughed happily and took a bunch of games out of the club locker and lined them up on the desk. I think that was the first time Mion's ever let someone else decide a game for her. I could tell that she was being especially considerate for Satoko. Thinking that whatever her circumstances, if we could just enjoy our time together as a group, that might make some comfort, some diversion.
Yo, you thought he was dead. No. He will be when I'm done with him? Bro, same. Let's meet up outside his house. We'll burn it down. Beat him with a baseball bat if he tries to run out.
Sadoko seemed to understand her feelings too, and smiled vaguely, though pleased. But her head slowly moved from side to side. I'm very grateful, but your feelings are enough. There are many things I need to do, so... Even Rika-chan hung her head in remorse.
Hey, whoa. Hey, seriously? All the club members are here for once and you're not gonna play anything? Desertion in the face of the enemy. What was the punishment game for it? What part of the club constitution was that in? Stop it, Mi-chan. We can't force her to play with us. Hey, this old man isn't trying to force her to do anything. I just thought it'd be more fun if, we did something. Really, I'm happy you feel that way. Don't worry, next time we meet, you'll see. I'll get you all caught in a gigantic trap. Mion, bring me the flaming river. Satoko Mall, insulting us, still said she couldn't participate in club today and apologized. She quickly put her things in her bag and pattered out to the hallway, disappearing. It was all happening in the blink of an eye. Satoko. Rika-chan stared lonesomely at her friend and hurried home, unable to part from the club activities. Silence filled the classroom. Both the cheerful voices of her classmates in the schoolyard and the voices of the cicadas sounded like they were coming from some faraway world. This is boring. The silence was broken by Mion's bitterness, as she began putting the games on the desk back into the locker. Everyone just stared absently on Satoko's seat, now empty. Rika-chan, maybe you could tell us about it now.
Reina made a gentle smile, as possibly she could, and she spoke softly to Rika-chan. Even without hearing it from her, we pretty much knew the situation at this point. Satoko's uncle had broken up with his lover and had come back to Hinamizawa. And he had taken Satoko back home and forced her to do all the household work, and that all they had pretty rough on her. Thinking this was common knowledge to everyone, I skipped to the important part. Is it really bad? Maybe Mion and Reina wanted to ask the same question. Nobody spoke. We all just stared, waiting for Rika-chan's reply. Rika-chan still didn't answer. We were hoping for her to say no, but her silence was a bad enough sign. Last year, was it? It was like this with both her uncle and his wife here, right? Yeah. At the time, they were mostly just being caught between their uncle and aunt fighting. One of the ways we helped out with the club, by reducing her time at home as much as we could, but... He's making her do chores now, so she can't stay at school either. Shit. Satoko's not a slave. Who do you think you are, ignoring your own inability to live properly, and basically putting Satoko under the house arrest? When you think about it, isn't it really strange? We need a lot of circumstantial evidence, but isn't this abuse? Can't we notify the police or something? You're right. If we had evidence she was being abused, I think we could tell the police. And can't we talk about the region's welfare people about this? Reina and I kept saying police, police, as though it were nothing, but Mion's response sounded like she thought we were being a little naive. It's easy for you to say that. Have you thought about the risks of actually getting proof? What do you mean, risks? I think it was 2 winters ago. We reported it to Child Consultation Center. Oh my god. We told them there was an abuse happening, and to do something right away. Yeah, you did? What happened? Well, a person came as soon as we called. She interviewed Satoko and Satoshi about what was going on, and then their uncle and his wife, too. I can understand asking Satoko and Satoshi, but wouldn't it not be so good to talk to the aunt and uncle? They said they'd base their judgment on what they heard from both sides. Great of them, wasn't it? So, what did they decide to do? Wait and see. What do you mean, wait and see? Their uncle really studied up on his stuff. By law, you can't call an abuse unless someone admits to assault or child neglect. They poked and prodded Satoko and Satoshi a lot, but it never left any real marks on them. They were pretty much eating 3 meals a day and had beds. There wasn't any recordings or anything like that to prove they'd said or done something to cause psychological trauma. None of the villagers had ever actually seen them being violent either. No matter how mean you are, you wouldn't act so violent in front of other people. Nobody would. Then, what happened? Well, the welfare officer apparently went to visit the same day each week for a while. The uncle and aunt, they knew they were being watched though, and didn't torment them in any way that would stand out. Of course, that wasn't the end of it. You mean, they ramped up how malicious they were being? Mion sighed and nodded. Their aunt was really damn stubborn. She's one of the most spiteful people I've ever known. Apparently, she was doing some pretty disgusting things. Satoko was like a doll, and that did nothing but breathe by the end of it. So what? From that conclusion, doesn't that mean that there never should have been contacted child welfare in the first place? Understand? Without proof of abuse, so clear anyone could see, there's nothing we can do. In fact, it might even make the situation worse. We messed up pretty bad. After hearing that even the public organizations, the one thing they thought were dependable, couldn't do anything, everyone hung their heads. Thank you for the word of wisdom, Skeletor. And in other words, until we have clear evidence of abuse, we shouldn't notify anyone? Well, I mean, basically, yeah. I considered Satoko's current situation. She was brought back to her house. it was a little difficult to call it abuse. Alright, bye Skeletor. Couldn't be me, I share my internet history. How she was being tormented would be the key, but without concrete evidence, it would be difficult to prove. If she had some kind of external injury, that would work. But as far as we could tell from today, she had nothing like that. And being forced to do the chores, that was a bit weak too. There had better evidence that she was without a doubt being abused. I know. Her uncle had ignored Satoko's existence for a whole year and went to live with her lover in town. Didn't that fall under some kind of definition of abuse that Miona mentioned? Child neglect? Yeah. It's the perfect case of child neglect. What about it, Michan? If her uncle weren't here now, it could be recognized as child neglect. But he's living with her at the moment, isn't he? They were apart before. But if he had something like... he had a change of heart and decided to live with her, then they might just say wait and see again. Once we report it, we would need to be absolutely sure they'd interpret it as abuse. Maybe we needed far more concrete evidence, lest we repeat last year's mistake. It's sad. This means we need to sit quietly and wait for him to be violent towards Satoko-chan and leave a mark, don't we? The only plan I could think of was, in the end, just watching and waiting. It left me in shock when I realized that it would be the same policy as the officials who had made the situation worse. As Mion said, reporting it to the public agency would be a gamble. If we're going to pick a fight, it would have to be one we couldn't afford to lose. If we were gambling, without enough money, without enough evidence, our defeat would be assured. If we took the time to amass enough money that we could be sure of victory, then that would mean pretending we didn't see Satoko's plate for a considerable amount of time. Sorry for bringing this up now, but how was Rika-chan able to live by herself? Rika-chan had lost her parents, if I recall. From what I'd heard, she had no relatives either. She was forced to live on her own as a result, but her life was unfettered, free of restriction.
Gamble? Gotcha game? I need my waifus. Risu, focus. Focus, my guy.
She could somehow grant the freedom to Satoko too. I mean, Rika-chan, you're living without any parents, right? Don't kids with no guardians have to go to orphanages or something? Keiichi-kun, that's cool. I'm not saying it to be mean. I only asked because I thought maybe it would be a hint to saving Satoko. Rika-chan, sorry if I offended you. Rika-chan shook her head, not particularly disturbed. Well, you see, it's because I'm considered the mayor's daughter. Let me explain. The mayor, Old Man Kimiyoshi, is Rika-chan's guardian. He got an official permission from the governor of the prefecture. Huh? So you're adopted? No, not adopted. You can be someone's guardian without them being the same family. Oh, I get it. Rika-chan lives by herself, but by law she's considered to live with the mayor, right? Yeah, basically. That's how Rika-chan avoids being sent to an orphanage. Actually, it would be a child and family services, not an orphanage. I don't understand the hard things, but anyway, she's right. Interesting you should say that, Mion. You can be someone's guardian even if they're another family? Then shouldn't we have the mayor or someone else become Satoko's guardian, if only on paper? Then she'd be the same position as Rika-chan, and she could go back to her old life. Too bad it won't work. I mean, her uncle is supposedly her guardian. Wait a minute. You lost me there. What's a guardian exactly anyway? In legal terms, a guardian and a parent weren't necessarily synonyms. So, whoever was actually looking after her at home would be considered her guardian. Then, her uncle isn't her guardian. He left Satoko by herself for so long. But, if he insists on being her guardian, then that's it. It's been a few days since Satoko was taken back to her house. Her uncle's been paying for her meals since then, right? He is sort of looking after her, so he'd probably insist. Even though we abandoned her for a year, he already looked after her for a whole year before that. But the mayor doesn't have that kind of history. So, Then if we both meet Uncle and the mayor requested guardianship at the same time, the uncle would make more sense?
No, but he'd have a better chance. The term guardian refers to a person who actually is caring for her, right? Adopt that gremlin, right?
The uncle actually has a bed and food for her, but the mayor would just have his name. It wouldn't be a contest. Then, shouldn't the mayor just start caring for her for real? He'd be her guardian in the name of reality if he did. We just need her to shelter Satoko. That might lead her uncle to being desperate and take her back, and he'll stubbornly refuse him. It won't be that easy. Satoko is a growing girl, you know. It's not like giving someone a cat. You're asking him to care for a real person. Then Coach. What about Coach? Coach, I don't know, he's got a lot of money, right? He even said it himself. Even if he's not her real father, Coach could become her guardian. Coach would, and he'd be great at taking care of her.
Stop it. Stop thinking of Satoko like a pet. All you're doing is talking about pushing her onto someone else. You need to think more seriously about how much responsibility it is to care for another human being. Did you even ask him? Did you get the actual promise from him that he'd take care of Satoko?
No, I didn't.
But Coach would definitely say yes.
Well, fine. Even considering the 0% possibility of Coach saying it was okay, then what? It still wouldn't work. He couldn't become a guardian all by himself.
That's right. Coach, didn't he say it himself? He was alone, so he couldn't do it. Shit, what the hell? Why is being single such a disadvantage in this society? Then, all you could do is marry into a wealthy family, couldn't you?
Is there anyone with that wealthy in Hinamizawa?
I'm not sure. See? It's not simple. It's hard to adopt someone. And you can't go into it thinking you'll push Satoko onto someone else just for a little while. You're being naive, Kei-chan. Shit, damn it, what the hell? Keiichi language. I'm desperate thinking of how to save Satoko, and all you're saying is no. No. Don't you care about Satoko at all? Are you even worried about her friend just one little bit? What do you have to say for yourself? I didn't mean it like that. But it just won't be that easy, and it's not that difficult of a problem. We just need to find some rich people to look after Satoko for a while. That's all. Right. What about your family, Mion? You always brag about how great it is being one of the 3 families or whatever, don't you? From what you've said, you must live in a gigantic house. My house? No, that won't happen. My grandma would never allow it. Then what about your relatives in Okonomiya? When I heard, they're living in luxury themselves. There's plenty of shops your relatives manage in town, too. Your family are basically millionaires, aren't they? No, that won't work. Going to Okonomiya is even more out of the question. My father, he'd never let it happen, ever. Hey, normally you act like some high and mighty bigwig, and now you're being all spineless? What the hell? Are you just gonna sit there and watch Satoko suffer? No, I don't, but, I mean, I want to help her as much as you, but it's different. It's a different story. How different of a story? How can you be so cold-hearted? Your friend is in trouble. What are you gonna do if you don't rescue her? You're her president, our club president. Save her! Save her from all this crisis. If you don't save her right now, you're not her friend. You're not even human. I don't know if you have any humanity left in you. Are you listening to me, Mio? My emotions all exploded all of me, and I didn't even give her a chance to say anything in response. I just wanted to make Mion agree with me, even if I had to force her. If she did, Satoko's problems would be solved. If pushing her would solve the issue, then I'd push her as much as I needed. Why aren't you saying anything anymore? I'm asking you, asshole. Well, say something, Mion Sonozaki. Me? Mion, looking down with a grim face, began sobbing. Her hands were clenched into trembling fists, and she rubbed her eyes to wipe away the tears.
Was what I said actually that mean? This isn't the time to cry. We're in the gambling room now, and we have to do something to save Satoko. And as I thought that, Reina spoke, her voice cold and incredibly calm. Keiichi-kun, if Michan's family won't work, then what do we do if we look for another family? I know someone in Hinamizawa who lives in a nice big house. Who? Oh, come on! You got a splendid family, and you're living in it out of all things. My family? My family is... Your friends, right? Save her, Keiichi-kun. Michan is cold-hearted after all. Since you are so considerate towards your friends, you should lead by example. Just the three of you living in that huge house, right? Then you're probably got plenty of spare rooms. You should just give her a few of the empty ones for Satoko-chan. And then her worries would all be over.
Hello there. Taken. Mystery sounds? Yes.
What's this? We're done already? That was pretty quick. Okay, great. Congratulations on solving the problem. Then are we done for today? I'm not gonna go home. Hooray! Hooray! Maybe I'll go treasure hunting. I haven't done that in a while. Oh, I was so worried about Satoko-chan until now that I didn't feel like going to play at all. I wonder if I'll find today. Oh. Well, say something, won't you? Why am I the only one talking? Say something, you bastard! Are you listening to me, Keiichi Maibara?
Even the cicadas seemed to cower in fear. Reina, her shoulders bobbing up and down, and me who had forgotten to breathe. Mion, whose face was become completely pale, and Rika-chan, who was keeping silent as if nothing had happened. The atmosphere in the classroom grew tight and stiff, and it petrified us where we stood. The sound of the chairs Reina sat back down after having stood up finally allowed everyone present to take a breath. Reina had shown me just how much I had hurt Mion. Reina's scary. After a few moments, Rika-chan cut into the frozen air. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rika-chan. Michan, I'm sorry for you too. I don't have to apologize to you, do I, Keiichi-kun? Jesus Christ. Reina with the counter, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being so unreasonable. Were you saying all that to me before? You said it while glaring at Michan, so I totally thought you were talking to her. Reina had such strength that you wouldn't have had imagined it normally. All I did was spout terrible things as a wave of violent fury passed over me. I couldn't contend with her. Mion, I'm sorry. I lost my cool. Come to think of it, I didn't understand what had gotten me so riled up. I thought of myself as Satoko's Nini, so I only had good intentions. That I'd think about it a little harder than everyone else, and yet... It's alright. You were worrying about everything, with everything you had, and all I was saying was nothing would work. So I'm sorry too. I did something wrong too. Mion rubbed away the tears in the corners of her eyes with her fists and apologized as well. We bowed our heads to each other and looked down without glancing at each other. Someone, I don't know who, heaved a sigh. Satoko being tormented had been known about since last year. How had the tragedy back then saved Satoko? How had they brought it to an end? Right. In the end, nobody could do anything. All they could do was bear it patiently and wait for those agonizing days to end. That's right. The one who brought an end to those terrible days was some crazy drug addict nobody knew. On the night of Watanagashi last year, their mean aunt had been beaten to death. But it hadn't been done to save Satoko or Satoshi. Right. It really was just a coincidence. Satoko's friends, who needed to do something for her, most of all could do nothing. The incident may have been a tragic one, but from Satoko's point of view, it was nothing less than a miracle. A miracle. A miracle only one could wait for.
Is waiting all we can do? Not for evidence of abuse, not for something of that minor. Huh? Wait, for what? A miracle. No one made fun of me for using such a crazy word. We couldn't come up with any solutions, so it was the only thing we could do. We're powerless. The one word Mion dropped was the finishing blow. It was hot. My body was sticky with sweat. The worst month.
A sad Pachi. Sad Pachi.
Oy, yeah, I know, I feel that. I walked forward quite a ways, and then turned right where the rice fields ended. I'd never come here before, so I had no idea where to go. I got lost several times, so I may have taken quite the long way around. Maybe I should have gone back home and gotten my bike first. It would have made everyone else worry if I'd asked them. So I'd asked one of the other classmates where Satoko's actual house was. The house was originally her family's, apparently. Not their uncle's or his wife's. Their house was even bigger, so they had to take in it by themselves. Ah, right there. Several houses all in line. Over there? I was visiting Satoko's house, but didn't particularly intend to meet her there. I didn't mean to spy on the enemy, her mean uncle either. Maybe I wanted to be a little closer to her, as her Nini. Pretty words, but I didn't know if they were true. If what Tomito-kun and the others had told me was right, it'd be this house? When I recognized it, my feet grew heavy. What did I come here for? My motive for coming here was absurd. When Mion had said at the end that they were powerless, it made me sort of frustrated. I just wanted to do something, anything other than to waste the days away praying for a miracle. That's what made me come here. But that was all. Even if I were to witness her uncle actually tormenting Satoko, what could I do? Would I act like a comic book hero, punch the guy in the face, and take Satoko away with me? And then live together somewhere far away? That was ridiculous. I am powerless. The cicadas' voices raised in chorus sounded like they were scoffing at me, as though they were saying that if I couldn't do anything, that I wouldn't do anything, and I should just go home. I heard a car approaching, so I got out of the way. But the car stopped right behind me, its horn honking shortly once. Annoyed I hadn't gotten out of their way, I looked behind me, and a familiar face was looking back at me from the driver's seat window. Coach! Hello, my bar-son. How unexpected to meet you all the way out here.
No, the cops, yeah, no. I guess in this arc, I can't even say, yeah, you wish it was the cops. In this arc, we gotta say, oh, please don't let it be the cops. Oh, please. Let it be no adult.
You live nearby. Me being here wasn't normal. Just as I considered somehow giving him the slip, I noticed Satoko sitting in the passenger seat. Satoko? Satoko got out of the car and began uploading a lot of groceries from the trunk. I happened to run into Coach on my way back from shopping. He said he'd bring me home, so I accepted his offer. She wouldn't have been able to carry all those groceries on her bike. As Coach spoke, he pulled Satoko's bike out from her back seat, where he'd put it. The grocery bags were big, and there were 4 of them. They all seemed to be packed full and were very heavy. Those bags, 7 smart? Hey, isn't that a little far to go by bike? I looked at the bags and saw that they were filled to the brim with sake bottles and snacks that you would eat with sake, and a box of cigarettes. Their weight was one thing, but the contents were nothing less than luxury items. I made it thanks to Coach. He helped me out. It was a little difficult getting up those hills. Satoko gave Coach a smile filled with gratitude, but it was incredibly awkward and even heart-rending. Satoko, these groceries aren't for dinner tonight, are they? course not. I do not drink sake and I hate snacks. Of course I don't smoke either. He made Satoko go to a distant store by herself on her bike? Just so she can buy some dumb shit like this? What was the uncle doing right now anyway? He must have just been working up a good sweat at his very moment if he needed to send Satoko out all by herself, right? If not, then how much? How much had Satoko suffered for no reason? I hadn't intended to voice my feelings, but they made it to my face. Coach might have noticed because he clapped me on the shoulder. Just then, one of the house windows clattered open, and the face of a vulgar man, in the very sight of which made me immediately avert my eyes, emerged from within it. There was no self-introductions necessary. My gut told me that this was the uncle in question. The first thing out of his mouth should have been words of gratitude for Satoko. Satoko! You left the heat for the sake on when you left, you half-wit. I'm sorry. But you told me to go right away. You idiot. All that brewing I did for nothing. Idiot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Satoko miserably apologized over and over, bowing again and again. She could be perfectly described as a small animal. I had no idea what was happening. Satoko finished shopping for all this heavy stuff, and it wasn't even for dinner? She only managed to come back because she ran into Coach and he drove her home. If she hadn't been found by him, she'd still be by herself, panting and moaning, pedaling her bike up that steep hill. What was with those words, those horrible, sleazy words that he had said to Satoko? In what country's dictionary did it tell him to say such things? To a young girl who'd just finished shopping. My anger, of course, wouldn't reach him. The uncle displayed no interest in me, instead shouting at Coach. Oh. Well, if it isn't Dr. Ure! Hello! Why do you come inside too? We're in the last round, so you can get it right away. 100 yen per 1,000 points, anything goes. No, I'll pass, thank you. I just ran into Satoko-chan and gave her a lift, that's all. I'll be leaving now. Yeah, come on, play around. You got a lot of money, yeah? I didn't even understand what her uncle and Coach were talking about. But I knew one thing for sure. None of what he had said here had been to thank Satoko in any way. How do you even heat up sake? I'm not sure, actually. You got me. I'm not sure why they're heating it up. That's it. Throwing hands. Fucking for real, for real. It's summer? Wait, what does it being summer have to do with that? Yeah, I'm not sure on the sake thing. If somebody knows, let me know. So I'm also very confused as to why they had to heat up a drink. Satoko, could you bring us some damn snacks? And start getting those beers chilled, too. Go get us some cold ones from the fridge. Chun, you're so harsh on her. She looks so sad. You should take better care of her. That's how you gotta treat her. She's been like this since she was with my bro. Spoil her and she ain't gonna listen to a damn thing you say. Whatever. Your draw, Tachan. Tsubaki-san declared Ricci, too. Sorry. What? You're in Ricci again, Tsubaki? It looked like it wasn't just her uncle. Some of his friends were over. Hey, wait. What was he... No, what were they doing? Flinging rude words left and right? Making Satoko go shopping for beer? What were they... They're playing Mahjong! I know what Ricci is. That's the one thing I kind of remembered from learning when we were trying to learn Mahjong. I don't know why they were heating it up, but I knew it can be served warm. They've been served a heated sake to hibachi. Oh, that makes sense. Maybe he was telling her to heat it up nice-like, and she got mad because it started heating up too much. They're heating up the sake to enhance the complex flavors. Oh! Yeah, Reese is like, yeah, they're playing Mahjong. Hell yeah, brother. I remember our time in Ricci City. I know what Ricci means.
6 hours in that game and I still don't know how to fucking win a game of Mahjong. Anyway. Oh, that face. Oh yeah, the sexy Mahjong? Yeah, that one. Just a regular game of Mahjong. But yeah, that face, it hurts me a little bit. She's really down with that one. Holy shit. Okay.
My uncle's friends came in from town. They're playing Mahjong. He told me to prepare dinner for them as well.
What the hell? Mahjong? He called his friends over for Mahjong? They were too busy playing, so they sent Satoko to buy them a crapload of booze from a faraway store? And the first thing he'd said to her was how she left the gas on? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? I'm surprised people can play that game with one hand. I feel you, bro. I feel you. Just kidnap her at this point. It's true. Probably won't even notice she's gone until he needs someone to like make him some food or something. What does this guy think he's doing? Who could get lost in some dumb game of Mahjong and then send Satoko to buy all this stuff? Even though Coach was listening, he pretended he wasn't. There was a line of heavy-looking shopping bags lined up in the ground next to the trunk. Maibara-san, you'll help too, please. You're a boy, you can carry the heavy one. Coach, you're gonna let this slide? This is completely... Coach pretended he hadn't heard that violent outburst either. When I thought about it later, his reaction might have been the best thing he could do in that situation. I'll carry 2 of them myself. Come on. Help us carry him, will ya? The bags were packed to the brim with bottles of sake and beer and bar snacks. And they were so heavy. And so filthy, so unfair. They weren't just heavy in terms of weight. They made me feel mortified. Nothing could have been heavier than that. Yeah, they're playing the sexy one. Definitely. They're definitely all in there playing the sexy one.
Keiichi-san, there's no need for you to push yourself. I'll carry it.
Satoko mistook my biting back as a humiliation of grimacing under the weight and offered to help. Stupid. Don't underestimate me. Satoko had never looked down on me physical strength in the slightest.
Coach, I'm sorry to you. Oh, sorry. Coach, I'm sorry to you too. It must be heavy.
No, not at all, answered Coach, smiling vaguely, coolly. But I, and I alone, knew. Coach was an adult, so he had just knew how to keep his feelings deep from showing. There was even more anger than I was feeling. It was burning deep in his eyes. Well, it is heavy. Shit. It wasn't very far to the doorstep of Satoko's house, but the bags squeezed my palms and started leaving red marks. Fury welled up within me, and the back of my throat stung. But even if it all came gushing out, it wouldn't solve anything. So, just tightly gritting my teeth was as much as I could do.
Really, thank you so much. Both of you. You really helped me out here.
After we carried them to the back door, Satoko said that this was enough. Occasionally we'd hear the repulsive laughing of her uncle and her friends from within, and my insides would seethe. I knew they weren't ridiculing us, and that it was why it made me so mad. They'd made Satoko shop for all this heavy, selfish stuff and ignored her and laughed amongst themselves as they pleased. It was deeply aggravating. Of course, Coach had felt the same way. But if he accidentally left his feelings slip out into his face, he'd only cause Satoko more worry. He knew that, and spoke coolly, as if to say he didn't care. Ah, not at all. I'm happy I could be a bit of help for you. If there's anything else I can help with, please tell me.
Yes. I'm really happy you feel that way.
That he feels that way. Those words were so sad. Satoko herself was sad, resigned.
that we could only do to help her so much. But she was right. No matter how much Coach or I wanted to help Satoko, this was as much as we could do. I felt absolutely ashamed not having the power to help her any more than this. If Keiichi were Mexican, he would have just beat the uncle. Oh my god, Risu, no. And rising in my throat, trembling all over, I almost started to cry from my fury. Me too. If there's anything I can do, I'll help, whatever you need. So, hang in there. I wanted to, at least. Give her those trite words saying that I'd help her whatever she wanted. Yes. Thank you so very much. I'm happy, just that you came all the way here when you didn't need to. Satoko seemed to have guessed what I was doing in a place like this, when my house was the opposite direction from the school. Alright. You should get going. Oh, sorry.
Alright. You should get going. They're drunk right now, so there's no telling what they'll get mad at you for.
She felt guilty getting us involved after we'd helped her, because she wanted to be the only one to suffer in this misfortune. That's how it looked, and it hurt. True, that's for sure. Oh my god. It's raining in your room? Bro. Oh. I handed my supermarket bag over to Satoko, and then I noticed the back of Satoko's hand. There was something that looked like a bruise. Hey, Satoko, what the heck is that bruise? I knew as much as anyone else how transparent that sounded. I didn't need to hear it from Satoko to know how this bruise came to be.
I just slipped on the stairs and hit it a little bit. Please, pay it no mind.
You're lying! Coach nudged me in the back, and then put his index finger in his mouth to chide me from being so loud.
Really, thank you so much. Until tomorrow. I hope we can see each other at school.
That's not what I'm talking about. I asked you how you got that bruise on your hand. The evening glow finally got to a point where I could see the other concealed oval-shaped bruises and traces of swelling. On her neck, on her legs, other places too.
I fell down the stairs.
The very moment my violent, rampaging emotions were about to burst their way out of my throat, I found my mouth being tight clamped down on. Coach was pressing down my mouth from behind, wrapping me tightly in his hands. Because of that, I couldn't say anything. I could only groan, which I did. That was all I could do. I needed to expel all my magma sitting deep within me, because otherwise I'd surely explode into a million pieces at that very moment. So I groaned. I groaned from my mouth, from my whole body. While the heat fell in drops from my eyes, I groaned and groaned. I groaned to the point of exhaustion. I wrung absolutely everything out of myself. Even having lost my voice, I was still wringing it all out. I understand how you feel. I really do, Maibara-san. Please just endure it for now. Please, I'm asking you, Maibara-san. Endure it for now. And then what? What would happen to her? To Satoko? Her body and her mind are wounded, and she was being made to suffer like this. Can you not even let me howl in vain at it? Is that it, Coach? Are we this powerless? So powerless that we can't even fucking scream from the bottom of our heart. The voices in the Higurashi made me calm down. I didn't know how long it had been. Satoko abruptly gave a slight bow.
Thank you very much, Keiichi-san.
Satoko!
You looked a lot like my real Nini just now. My real Nini, he may not be here anymore. But I have another Nini. He's named Keiichi-san.
Yeah, you got it. I'm your Nini. And when you're in pain, I'll help you no matter what. Your Nini will rescue you for sure. Satoshi Hojo, you fucking idiot. If not now, then when? Satoko. She's never been in more pain in her life. If her Nini doesn't save her now, then when will he? Why did you run away? Why did you abandon her? Why did you leave Satoko behind? You don't have any right to call yourself Satoko's Nini. I won't run away.
Huh?
I definitely won't run away. I won't run away and abandon you like Satoshi did. No way. I will never abandon you. Slip. Tears trickled down from Satoko's eyes. And then she narrowed her eyes into a smile.
Bye, Nini.
Satoko took her right hand and awkwardly waved to me.
I'll be alright. My Nini now helped me so much. So I'll be okay. I'll do my best until tomorrow. I'll be okay. So, for today, this is goodbye.
There was no way that I could say bye, see you tomorrow. And then from the inside of the house came a throaty, disgusting voice. Satoko! Could you bring us the snacks already?
Okay, Nini. Get going already. I'll be fine now. Hurry.
Let's go, my Bara-san. Staying any longer than this would be a bother for Satoko-chan.
Coach, Nini's house is a little far away. I'm sorry to ask, but could you maybe take him home?
Yeah, I'll do that. Coach grabbed me by the collar, and with strength I couldn't have imagined him having, started dragging me away. And I, unable to oppose him, started getting further away from Satoko. She waved with her hand to us, expression still dark, and then disappeared. Through the back door. Coach got into his car first, and then turned around on the narrow path he brought me to the passenger side door, and around for me. I know how you feel, and I know it hurts. No, I think I understand it even better than you. But right now, just for now, please endure it. She understood exactly how you feel, so please endure it. If you don't, I know already. I'm sorry. Thank you for before. I meekly got into the passenger seat. The car accelerated quietly, and Satoko's house grew further and further away in the rearview mirror. We made a wide turn and then couldn't see our house anymore. Is your house that far away? It's the other direction from school, isn't it? I didn't bother to reply. I would have been hard-pressed to give him an answer that was why I was at Satoko's house. Coach didn't say anything more either. For a while the two of us were silent, and only the sounds from the gravel sprang over the road as we drove. I remembered how Reina had said that things were different this year. At the time, she had said Satoshi was with her. Satoshi protected Satoko, so that less of the sparks fell into her. But now, Satoshi isn't there. Yeah, that's the unfortunate truth. Coach seemed to understand what I really meant when I said that. It's terribly sad and a cruel story. But there's a limit to our resolve and our efforts and our assistance. It sounded like an excuse, but he was right. Even if Coach and I had wanted to be the people Satoko could depend on, that was all. It ended up front door. No matter how much we shouted that I would be her Nini, no matter how much I shouted that I wouldn't abandon her, and no matter how much Satoko called me Nini, I couldn't do any more than that. Where on earth could a Satoshi have gone? Right, Satoshi was another story. Her actual brother, Satoshi, he was in a position to protect far, far, far better than I ever could. That was the cold, sad truth of the massive gulf between Satoshi and us. I wonder what he's been doing lately. Your internet's lagging? Oh no. Right in the Kokoro. Oh my god. Satoshi left home. I didn't know why. Maybe it was because of Yashiro-sama's curse, or he disappeared, or something. In any case, he wasn't beside Satoko now. At the time, Satoko needed him to protect her the most, and he wasn't there. Why isn't he here? Satoko needs him now more than ever. A lot of people talk about Yashiro-sama's curse, but the only thing I can say is that he ran away. One of my friends said that one day he would just never come back. He ran away without even leaving so much as a note for his sister. Satoshi can have been doing part-time jobs a lot. At the time, Satoko-chan really wanted this huge stuffed animal. It ended up costing a lot, so he was doing all sorts of part-time jobs in order to afford it. He felt so strongly about it. Everyone was whispering about how he at least wanted to get his sister a nice birthday present, since she was being made to live with such a pitiful life, and her uncle and his wife. In the end, he didn't use his savings for a birthday present for Satoko. Satoshi-kun disappeared, and the police looked long and hard. They found out Satoshi-kun had withdrawn all of his savings himself on that day, and he left. After checking all over, they began to think that he had just used his savings and got to Tokyo. Tokyo? For what? Again, all I can say is that he ran away. He saved up all that money so he could run away? Was he that selfish? But how could he just leave Satoko behind? If he was going to run away, he would have brought Satoko with him. Even now, Coach was calm. He wasn't trying to pour any oil on the fire of my anger at all. He just waited until my anger naturally subsided. After listening to the gravel being crushed under the wheels of a little, Coach spoke abruptly. Please understand. Satoko-chan left behind arrived at the same conclusion. I'm a burden on my brother, and that's why he abandoned me. He didn't take her with him when he left. How terrible must Satoko have felt, being betrayed by the brother she loved so much. But Satoko-chan was a very strong person. Of course, she had the support of close friends too, but that was how she regained her smile. I recalled how Satoko had spoken of Satoshi so brightly when I was eating dinner with her and Rika-chan a few days ago. At the time, I didn't think any more of it or how unpleasant their sibling love had been. But now that I did think about it, I realized. It was like she was peering into the distance from atop a pile of tragic perseverance. She said Satoshi-kun will come back for sure, and that when he did, she wanted him to see how she was no longer a burden. Satoko isn't a burden. She's way better at day-to-day living than me, and she can do pretty much anything. I mean, she might fall behind Reina or Rika-chan with certain aspects, but she's way more of an adult than most people. That's the result of having her working so hard, since she didn't know when Satoshi would come home. Her efforts were so painful. While she lived with Rika-chan, Rika-chan taught her how to handle everything flawlessly. Also that she could welcome back Satoshi at any time, so that she could show him that she wasn't ashamed. So when Satoshi was... when is he going to come back? I asked Coach, but knew he couldn't be able to answer. In any case, Satoshi ran away. He left Satoko and ran away from Hinamizawa. Someone said that when you leave Hinamizawa and run away, Yashiro-sama's curse gets to you, right? Then, that made sense. Satoshi running away and his disappearance. That would obviously mean people thought it was the curse, right? And they could smile, as though it was his own fault, as though he got what he deserved. Hey, Yashiro-sama, whoever you are. Satoshi didn't vanish because he ran away. You demoned him away with your curse, didn't you? If that's not what happened, then I couldn't forgive him. When did Satoshi run away? The night of the Watanagashi festival last year, when their aunt was killed by that deviant. It was a few days after that, on Satoko-chan's birthday. On Satoko's birthday? I slammed my hands on the dashboard in front of me with all my might. Satoshi. Of all days. He could have chosen to run away. Their aunt just died a few days before, didn't she? All your days of suffering were about to end, weren't they? You were just about to start thinking about a new life, weren't you? It's wrong to be happy about someone dying, but for Satoko and her brother, her birthday had come at a crucial turning point. Their mean uncle had fled town, and the siblings would be left alone. They should have been able to be happy about it on Satoko's birthday. Satoko was probably waiting for her brother to return the whole time. Waiting for her brother to return when he never did. Waiting for that with bated breath for her brother to return. Her hopes and dreams of the new life to come growing even larger. But now, no matter how long she waited, he didn't come back. He didn't even contact her. Satoko trembling in anticipation of the great present. Just when would she have had to face the cold, terrible truth? Satoshi, you fucking idiot. I could feel my blood rising in my head, and my anger at Satoshi. I was frustrated. I was aggravated. I couldn't forgive him. Satoko still respected and adored her brother, and yet he so heartlessly betrayed her. Such a person wouldn't just come back now when he was most needed. Yeah, no one could protect her. Not even her real brother Satoshi. So when she started to see you as her Nini, I was happy. Huh? I pray for Satoko-chan's happiness as well, but I have a position in society and a job to do every day. I have little time to do what I can devote to Satoko-chan, but you're different. You go to school with her, and you're closer to her than Satoshi's age. And I know you think you can only do so much, but you're in a position where I can give Satoko-chan a hand better than I can. So, I want you to help her enough for both of us. That's what I wish for. Shit. Motorcycle outside. It's loud as fuck. But that's... Coach, you could... Of course, with my job skills, there are plenty of things that I can only help her with. But in the same way, there are things that only you can do for her. What I want to say is, we should both perform in every way we can. Was that a little too complicated? Coach added that, but I shook my head in response. When I heard him say that he had job skills, it reminded me that he was an adult in a different position from all of us. Sorry, just rushing towards Satoko's house. Oh, right. Do you want your way to say Satoko? Yeah. Maybe I should ask him about it. Oh. Coach, do you know a lot about laws? No. I know even less than the average person. Why? I thought back to when I was arguing with Mion and the others about Satoko. Our children's argument had only left us with the conclusion that we had to wait and see, but what would an adult think? What was it? The child welfare law? As an emergency measure to secure safety of a juvenile, they can force him or her to be separate from the parents? They can do that? So then, we could rescue Satoko from her uncle right away? Satoko-chan might not want that. Unless the person being abused wants shelter anyway, it doesn't go that far. Satoko doesn't want it? Why? Coach didn't answer me. I didn't know why he didn't. It was clear as the day that Satoko's uncle was being violent and treating her like a slave. So then why? I clamped down on my frenzied emotions and waited intently for Coach to answer. But he never did. It wasn't like he was pretending he hadn't heard me. If I had to say, it was more like he wanted to explain, but he couldn't put it in the right words. Satoko-chan probably thinks of this abuse as a trial. A trial? This isn't some weird religion we're talking about. You might not know this, but Satoshi-kun always looked out for Satoko-chan. She always relied on him, almost as though she was utterly dependent on him. I'd known for a while that Satoshi had always protected Satoko from their aunt and uncle, but that was his duty as an older brother, not something to worry about. I think that may have traumatized her. Maybe she figured that depending so heavily on her brother was what made him hate her. And for Satoko, the current situation was retelling of the story a little over a year ago, but this time Satoshi wasn't there. So I believe that now, she thinks something like this. She wants to overcome this trial by herself, without relying on anyone else. And that, if she doesn't grow strong, then Satoshi-kun will never return. Now that he mentioned it, Satoko had never even said a word about how hard it had been before. I figured she was being threatened not to talk about it, but I talked with everything and we were wondering if we should report it to the Child Consultation Center. I've heard that the social worker was visiting Satoko-chan last year. Yeah? In the end, they decided to wait and see, and we thought that maybe that made her get tormented even more. That was... Well, apparently Satoko-chan reported it herself, and as a result the abuse worsened, but was just kept just out of sight. She was under more torment, and the burden of Satoshi-kun for protecting her rose considerably. Huh? Could Satoko... She wouldn't be thinking of it's her own fault for reporting it, would she? Coach nodded quietly. Satoko-chan would probably either hate it if you suggested reporting the abuse or feign courage and say that you didn't need to. And even if you reported it in secret, she'd probably insist to the social worker that she wasn't being abused. Satoko always acts tough and doesn't really admit defeat, so I can only imagine that easily. And there are strict limitations on this emergency measure. The Child Consultation Center could need permission both from the court and from the concerned party. If the abuse was known to the public, they could forcibly shelter her even if she denied it. For Satoko-chan, that would probably mean losing. This isn't something about winning or losing. It's real life, and Satoko, she's... Back on topic. After they placed her under the protection, she would be sent to a child care institution or the like, and she would basically be living there, so it would mean moving away. And with the huge change in residents would come with a huge change in schools, too. That changing schools, it has to be done. If that's what it takes for her to be safe. Satoko-chan understands all those things. All the more reason for her not to want it. Why? Because Satoko-chan's reason for living is to wait here at the house for Satoshi-kun to return. She was a husk, an empty shell after being abandoned by her brother. How did she find the reason to live? Try looking at it from Satoko-chan's point of view, rather than your own. Oh. I felt like he was trying to confuse me by saying that so hard to understand, a roundabout way of talking so unique to adults. The point was that I couldn't do anything about Satoko wanting to stay in that house, and that I should watch until she gives in. And in the end, no matter what I said, Coach himself was saying to wait and see. I don't understand. What? If I feel that Satoko-chan is really in danger, I'll report it without asking anyone's opinion. She might not be happy with the result, and she might hate me for it, but I believe it'll ultimately be what brings Satoko happiness. Coach turned to me and gazed fixedly on my eyes. It was written all over his face. He was shocked, and what such a young kid had to say. What? Why would you go that far? Coach, no matter normal adults, they might not have understood. So I taught him the creed of the values that I believed in. Satoko's my friend, and I'm Satoko's Nini. Isn't that enough reason? I stared at him with a strong will, unbreakable as steel, as my eyes betrayed a tiny bit of unrest. No. Of course that's enough. We were silent for a little while, until finally Coach said only that. Didn't we make a promise? I'm sorry, what? That we weren't ever going to let Satoko cry. We made a vow on that day of the barbecue party. I didn't think about it that hard at all, but Coach and I had still made a promise. That we would never let Satoko cry. Coach gave a dry grin of regret, immediately apologizing for not remembering. One way or another. When he grinned like that, it made me think that his enthusiasm for saving Satoko was a tiny bit smaller than mine. He lightly hit the brakes, making a skidding noise, and leaned forward. Could that be your house there? Oh, right. My bar son would live at the My Bar residence, wouldn't he? Before I knew it, we were almost to my house.
Yay! Bachi, bachi, bachi! We finished it! Chapter... Shit, what chapter is this? Chapter 6 is done! Woo! Bachi, bachi, bachi! Sad bachi, bachi, bachi. Yeah, so I mean, I warned you guys that last chapter was kind of the start of where shit gets fucky here. Shit starts to get fucky in this book. The flashbacks of when Satoko made dinner for Keiichi, yeah. 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 And, you know, I'm sure many of us at this point all know Higurashi fairly well. This is our third book into it.
Things are only gonna get worse. Feel related to Satoko? Yeah, man. There's a reason this is like my favorite arc. It's gonna hit deep. It's gonna make you sad. Here's a tissue for Mistress. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. It's only gonna get worse. Because just think, this is chapter 6. Watanagashi hasn't even happened yet. And it's like this one too. It's like all the other ones, it's like a, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. But in this one, it's like, oh my god, my friend might die. You're not looking forward to it, same. Sag. Yeah, this one I really like. It's definitely different. And like, I know I talked about it in other parts, but like the author for all the Higurashi books, before he was an author, he was a child social worker. So he was like, yeah, I put all of that into the 3rd book, really. And I was like, oh my god. I wasn't good in the morning because there was a lot of things in your mind, the things that hit me really hard. Yeah. Can we play the Sexy Grim Reaper game instead? No, we gotta read Higurashi! We have to read Higurashi. That was one of the series I really, really wanted to complete when I started doing visual novels for the channel. This is one of them that I really want to finish. Even to this day, I still don't understand why they give me so many save slots. There's not like there's different endings. Sag in the corner. Can we play Mahjong? Bro, is it playing Mahjong? Because again, we got 6 hours at least in that game, and I still don't know how to fucking play Mahjong. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. I still don't know how to win Mahjong. But yeah, honestly, I don't remember what the next book is even about. Because, like, I think I looked at it last time. Chotomate. How many chapters are there in this one? Are we halfway now? We might be. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, well, according to this chapter, according to Steam, if what I'm reading is correct, there's like 8 chapters left. But sexy lady. 8 chapters left, so almost halfway, I guess. Next time, we'll be halfway. Once we finish chapter 7, we're halfway through the book. 8 Yeah, there's 8 more chapters after this. So it goes up to chapter, what did I just say, 14? Nah. What you mean, nah? We're only halfway. That's what I'm saying. It's only gonna get worse. This is the fucking build-up, my guy. This is the build-up. Hearing how she's abused and how he makes her work for 3 days straight. This is the build-up. This ain't no... What was the last book called? Watanagashi? Like, it was literally just called The Festival. What the fuck was that? Anyway. Like, the last book, Watanagashi, right? I forget how many chapters that was, but, like, 90% of it was build up to, like, a really long final chapter. This one's gonna make us sad the whole time. Aren't you excited? You're gonna need more tissues. Yeah, I love Satoko. Satoshi's really cool too. I can't wait till we start doing the answer arcs and we can. Anyway, I'm gonna need a psychologist to continue this game. Very excited! Yay! Alright, but yeah, I will wrap it up here this time. Which one do you say is more sad, this or To Your Eternity? Ooh. I
To Your Eternity was more of like a in-your-face sad. But this, because you spend so much time with these kids in each arc, and you learn something about each one, and you get really close. So it's like a really pungent, burning, long stretch of sadness. Whereas like To Your Eternity made me bawl in that first episode, and like I'll never forget it. It's so good. But I don't know. I guess, man, Higurashi's got a different flavor of sadness. It's hard to compare the two. Like, I can't say much now, but trust me, we'll be feeling something at the final chapter. Oh, trust me. To Your Eternity made me depressed. Never surrender. Psychological sadness, yeah. But yeah, man, oh. This, if it helps you at all, I feel like this is one of the sadder arcs. Is this question arc for Satoko. Really enjoying it? Good, good. Yeah. I know it's one of my personal favorites. I think there's only one other one out there, but it's an answer arc, and we'll get there when we get there. But, oh boy. Need my sexy wolf man. Oh boy. Gonna make me go emo. Yeah. Alright guys, I'm gonna start wrapping it up here. For real. Tomorrow, we'll be doing another vampiric history lesson. I'm gonna be going over some vampiric vocab words and clans from the Bloodlines games. So I hope you'll come for that one. And if you're not there, I will see you when I see you. You have a good night, good evening, and goodbye, lamb chops. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.